everyone, welcome back to the People Mover Travel YouTube channel. I am here with my lovely friend Stephanie. Hello, Stephanie.
Hello.
Sometimes I feel like I'm on a talk show in the morning.
I'm happy to be your new interviewee.
So much. Today, we're talking all things Disneyland Paris. Stephanie just got back from a trip to Disneyland Paris, and I had to pick her brain about it. So we're going to chat some of her favorite things, what tips she would share with her clients or anybody heading to Disneyland Paris for the first time or maybe the 50th time. We have lots of tips to share. So to get us started, I'm going to give a brief overview. If you've never even heard of Disneyland Paris or you are totally unsure of what's going on over there as far as that Disney park, I'm going to give a brief overview and then we're going to dive into chit-chatting about vacation. So Disneyland Paris is located about 30 miles outside of Paris city center. There's two theme parks. There is the Disneyland Park, which is what's similarly going to reflect Magic Kingdom or Disneyland Park in Anaheim. So that's where you're going to find the castle, and that's where you're going to find a lot of the classic attractions that you would be familiar with seeing. There's also Walt Disney Studios, which will soon be Disney Adventure World, which is a name that is quite a choice, but here we go, adventure's coming. This is where I'd like to think of this park as like a hybrid between Hollywood Studios and California Adventure with like a tiny bit of Epcot sprinkled in. So it's kind of got a really good variety of rides. This is where the new Avengers campus is. This is where the Ratatouille area and ride are. They've got some Toy Story there, some additional Pixar. They're opening World of Frozen there in spring of 2026, which is very exciting. And they're also working on a Lion King area, which is going to be really fun. I think that's really needed in a Disney park.
Yep.
So that park is getting a lot of love, but I do think it's going to be a really great destination in the next few years. So two theme parks set up similarly to what Disneyland in California is, where they are walkable kind of across the esplanade from each other. There is 7 on-site Disney hotels. So there is a really nice variety, kind of like there is for Disney World, where you've got some more deluxe options, the newly renovated Disneyland Hotel, the Art of Marvel Hotel. Then they also have some more value and moderate options. My favorite for no reason at all is Hotel Cheyenne, of course.
Of course.
On. So lots of resort options, and a lot of them are walkable. If not, they have a shuttle that will take you to the theme parks. So all in a really good central location. Disneyland Paris is just really fun and unique. You kind of get a taste of things you've experienced before in that familiar Disney magic, also with some unique things that you're not going to find in some of the other theme parks. So it's a really great destination for its own trip, or also a lot of my clients, and I'm sure Stephanie's clients as well, added on as additions. If they're already in Paris and they want to get a little taste of magic, they'll sprinkle in some Disneyland Paris time. So that's a little about Disneyland Paris. Stephanie, tell us about your trip. Maybe start with like the logistics, when you visited, where you stayed, things like that.
Sure. I did it as like a trip extension. So I had gone on a cruise that left from London, and then we flew from London over to Paris. The night before, like when we first got off the cruise, we stayed offsite at a more like B&B type hotel, like a little bit more off the beaten path. And then we switched over and we stayed at the Hotel New York, so the Art Marvel Hotel. It was incredible. We were there in July, and I will say that this July was a brutal time to be in Paris. Both London and Paris had heat waves going on while we were there. So it was close to 100 degrees every single day I was in Paris, which was insane. But we did a 3-night or 2-night, 3-day ticket. The tickets there work a little bit differently than they do here. If you do a vacation package, everything is kind of preset and bundled together. So we really only spent 2 of those 3 days in the parks, just because we ended up taking the Eurostar back to London the 3rd day. But yeah, it was really cool staying at one of the Disneyland Paris hotels and seeing kind of the differences and similarities between, the Florida and the California hotels. The Hotel New York is like a super prime location. It basically is at the very end of their version of downtown Disney, the Disney Village. It's just right there. So it's like when you want to go to the parks, you really just cut through the village and then you're there. So it's like a 5-minute walk, and just really convenient, and would recommend it as a hotel for sure.
Yeah, I think that when I try to compare like how close everything is, I mean, it is like Disneyland. Like that's the vibe you're getting, where like, because Disney World, a walkable hotel is like almost laughable. Like there's
Yeah,
on and
there's
off.
what, 2?
Is
Yeah. Yeah.
but I do feel like Disneyland Paris like is a lot closer, and
Yeah.
having a walkable hotel is just like a game changer for trips,
Yeah.
especially when it's
And
that hot.
yeah, and even compared to, downtown Disney and California, it's even more convenient, I would say. Like the Disney Village, just the walk through it feels much less substantial than walking through like downtown Disney in California. Like the end of a day, walking back to your hotel sometimes from downtown, like through downtown Disney, it feels like the last chore, but it really wasn't bad going through from the parks to the hotel in Paris. I didn't mind it at all.
Awesome. What were some of your favorite things that you like rode, saw, ate? What was like the highlights of what you did in the parks?
So I kind of have like a best ride, a best restaurant, and I guess like a best like extracurricular, I would say, like something that isn't necessarily like a park related thing. My favorite ride was their version of Tower of Terror. I think if you're already a Tower of Terror fan, like Paris, the story is just like a little bit extra creepy. The theming is just kind of like a little bit extra. I mean, it's basically the same ride at the end of the day, but like if you're really going to get down into the theming and you love that kind of like creepy Tower of Terror energy, like their Tower of Terror is my favorite it's not Guardians, but you know what I mean. Like it's the best original like Tower of Terror, Tower of Terror. Um, as far as food goes, I do think that Disneyland Paris is the weakest Disney park I've been to. So, which is kind of crazy. You're in France, you expect like the food to be incredible. There is some good food. I just think it's like kind of the snacks and stuff. That's where you struggle a little bit. Like they don't kind of have the crazy snacks that you see in the US parks or in Tokyo. Like those really, Instagram worthy snacks aren't as big of a thing there. But we did eat at Chez Remy, which is also in the soon to be adventure park, the Disney whatever they're calling it in the next 5 minutes. Um, and that was really fun. The food was good. We did do a half board meal plan while we were there. So we got breakfast at the hotel every day and then lunch or dinner at any sit down restaurant in the parks. So I do think that if you want to do any of the sit down restaurants, it is a really good option because it's basically just like a prefix menu. You get appetizer, entree, dessert, and a drink. Compared to the US, when you did the dining plan, I feel like that's a good amount of food in Paris because it's not as crazy as some of the meals you get if you do the dining plan in the US parks. But it was really fun. They have like a cheesecake that's not a cheesecake, but it looks like cheese. And that one is, everybody's seen the pictures, I think, of that. So that was really cute. And I think that was my favorite like dining experience that we did. Just the theming is so good. And like you really feel like you're a little rat eating some fancy food. And that's cool.
So fun. Yeah, I always tell my clients to eat breakfast at the hotel because it's kind of well known that Disneyland Paris is like not known for the food. I think their
Mhm.
sit down restaurants are like where the special like magic is.
Yeah, yeah,
Their
absolutely.
quick service. But you're totally right. Like if you're going and trying to find like a fun churro in the morning, it's probably not going to happen. So I always tell people like, you know, get
Yes.
fueled up at your hotel, get the breakfast, get the meal plans. They're really good like value, and don't like go in expecting, you know,
Yeah,
frozen
exactly.
treats everywhere and every stand to be open and churros
Yeah,
like miles.
exactly, exactly. And I actually, the breakfast at the Hotel New York was really good. There was a lot of different options. If you like a sweeter breakfast, a more savory breakfast, something a little bit more American, something a little bit more European. They've got tea, they've got coffee, they've got juice, they've got cereal, like
Yeah.
you name it. It's, like a little bit more of an elevated, like hotel breakfast. So well worth the cost there. And then my extracurricular is actually that there's a Pop Mart in downtown, like in their Disney Village, and my sister and I were like super into Pop Mart at the time, so it was cool that was like it wasn't a super busy store. So like if anybody is familiar with Pop Mart and they know what it's like in London or what it's like in Asia, like there are lines, it's crazy, it's like hot, you're sweating, it's a whole situation. The one in the Disney Village is so chill. It doesn't have everything, it's pretty small, but like everybody that worked there was so nice and like helpful and like just a really cool like extra little experience that we didn't necessarily think we'd have. And then like the same with the gift shops there, like everybody there is so kind and helpful and like they fold everything. Like when I bought this sweatshirt, they folded it so nicely. She took so much time with how she folded it. And I was like, the US parks could never. Like they would just shove that in a bag. It would have been exactly. So yeah, that's kind of like my little extra bonus is that like the Disney Village is a really like pleasant shopping experience overall.
I've seen that Pop Mart, and it's like kind of hidden. And that,
Yeah, it's little corner Pop Mart, but they have all the big hitters. They didn't have like all the bag charms, but I know a lot of Pop Marts just aren't carrying those because like people were getting into fist fights. Like it was crazy. So
what was one thing that you wish you knew before you went, or maybe like an area of improvement for Disneyland Paris?
I think it's a little bit confusing how they do their premier access. Disney World is more in line with it now, but it used to be when I used to first start booking Disneyland Paris for clients that you could book it as part of your package ahead of time, and you can't do that anymore. You have to book it, I think, a week out, same as Disney World. And I don't feel like there's as much information out there about how it works. I think Disney World has done a really good job of like putting the information out there, making it very clear that this is kind of like the experience you're going to have. Whereas I think Disneyland Paris, the information is a little bit muddy and you kind of have to do a little bit more digging to figure out exactly what it looks like. It is one of those things that once you're kind of using it and you're in the nitty gritty of it, it's very like user friendly. It's just if you're an over preparer like I am, I didn't feel like I was ready for it going in. So just a little thing. It's nothing major, but like, you can figure it out.
Yeah, no, I've heard the same, and I also think Disneyland Paris is like similar to Disneyland California, where it's more of a local park, and so they're not like
Hmm.
expecting people to be coming and doing these week-long vacations and want
Yeah.
everything planned out. It's more kind of just like stop by for the weekend, have fun, enjoy, and that's it. Um,
Yep.
but I also do think, I mean, this is not, I'm obviously biased in this, but I do think having a travel agent is so important because I still even call Disneyland Paris and I'm getting told new information and there's new things coming out and they've changed this and they've changed that.
Yep.
So it's
Absolutely.
so helpful to have somebody, and especially, I mean, I can't even call Paris like on my phone plan. Like having the agent there to help you like navigate that is so
Exactly.
helpful because visiting a Disney park in another country is already confusing and overwhelming.
Yes.
Actually, when I agree, it's not all like as presented as clearly as maybe we're used to having that help
Yep.
this big.
I agree absolutely because the foreign parks, like you're looking at Tokyo, you're looking at Paris, you're looking at Shanghai, whatever. Their websites are definitely not as user like they don't have all of the information,
Yeah.
but it's there if you're willing to take the time. And if you have an agent, they already do that for you. So hooray us!
Right. Anything else you want to share? Any tips you would give somebody going, or what you usually share with your clients, like when they're getting ready to head out?
Sure. I think considering my trip and just other things I've heard is like don't underestimate the weather. Um, people expect it to be hot when they go to Florida, and I think you expect a certain level of like variability when you go to California. Like it can be chilly in California, it can be wet. Um, Paris is not Florida or California, right? Like the weather there is going to be a lot more variable. Like I did not expect it to feel like I was walking out into an oven every single day when I was in Paris. And like that sun just sits like right at your forehead and you're just like baking in it. But I know it also snows there. So, I think definitely do your due diligence and like prepare for the weather that you're going to get. I know some people don't check the weather before they travel. That's crazy, but like, that's your journey, whatever. If you're going to Paris and you're going for a couple days, definitely take the time, check the weather, bring options because even if you're used to, whatever weather at home, it might feel different there. You just be prepared. That's like my pro tip. And then vacation package. I think it's worth the cost. I think it's still more affordable than Disney World or Disneyland in my experience. Like the park tickets in Paris are a lot cheaper, and so the overall packages tend to cost a little bit less. And it's just worth the convenience of being there. If you're planning on doing more than one day, if you're only planning on doing one day, say where you want, do what you want, live your life. But if you're planning on doing 2 or more days, like stay on property, get the full experience, enjoy, the proximity because it is kind of far from Paris. It takes a while to get there. So, take advantage of the resources available is what I would say.
Well, I think their hotels are so great. It's very similar to all the other Disney hotels where there's really great dining options there. There's pools, there's spas, like it has it all. So I think it's even to stay one night. And like we kind of touched on at the beginning of the video, their packages do work differently. You can't pick and choose how many park tickets that you want.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
you're getting like you said, you did 2 nights. That means you had 3 days. You're always getting like all of the days in park tickets, which
Yep,
sometimes turn people off. But I think that experiencing it is there, but also like not feeling like you have to spend all those days at the parks, but still knowing like that's the best option. Like you said, it's the most
exactly.
affordable, it's the easiest, like it's convenient, you're getting the Disney magic and experiencing the great resorts.
Exactly. Exactly. And then like my last thing is if you're afraid of a language barrier, don't be. Like everybody there is so kind. At least with the cast members. I mean, obviously guests anywhere can be a mixed bag. Like you get rude people everywhere and Paris is no exception. There are nice guests, there are rude guests, there are kids running around. It's a Disney park. Any experience you have in the US you're gonna have there. But like if you are worried about like going into a restaurant and ordering food, they have English menus. They have like if you don't know how to say something, it's okay. Nobody is going to be upset about it. Even the people that work at the ice cream stands, they may not speak a lot of English, but they know enough to communicate with you to figure out what you want.
Yeah.
So I think if that's something you're nervous about with any of the international parks, it's kind of a non-issue, really. Like it'll be fine. It's Disney. They take care of you.
I always tell my clients, I'm like, download the Disneyland Paris app, especially when it comes to food, because then you can browse the menus in English and you can like really understand what you're ordering instead of getting up and like panicking because you don't know
Yeah,
how
yeah,
to
absolutely.
ask for this menu. That's like really helpful. You can be very prepared and everything on there will be in English.
And I do think they know based on if you're, I think the app you download from the US App Store, they like kind of know if you've booked through that because like we never got a menu that wasn't in English. So, they knew somehow that we only spoke English. So, like maybe they were just looking at us and they're like, those are Americans. But yeah, it was much easier than we anticipated. Like there was no, other than like the initial, like, I'm in a new park kind of stress, there was never any like language issue for us.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that you had a great time, Disneyland Paris. How many
Yeah.
more Disney parks do you have on your list before you check them all off?
Hong Kong and Shanghai are all that's left. Well, and then the new one, but that's so far in the future. We'll even see if that happens. So yeah, just those two.
You're almost there.
Yeah, getting close.
All right. Well, thanks for chatting with me, Stephanie. Thank you,
Of
everybody,
course.
for hanging out with us. If you're interested at all in planning a Disneyland Paris vacation, you can reach out to People Mover Travel. We are here to help. We're here to guide you, be the phone calls, do it all for you, and make sure you have a really magical experience at Disneyland Paris and Disney Adventure World coming soon. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.